Hey, what's going on, guys? John here. So in this video, I'm going to share with you exactly step by step how to blow up your real estate agent business from day one. So within 90 days from the first day you start as an agent, I'm going to give you this step-by-step blueprint of how you blow up your business. And I'm also going to share with you the biggest traps that most agents fall in when they first start out. So I want to start with the traps. The first is that they're naive about their own ability. They think that they're a great salesperson. They think they're an expert negotiator. They think that they're so great. And let's just be completely real. A lot of people think that they're great across all three of those. But the faster we sit back and look at business as a whole and realize that businesses run either through a brand, you don't have to be the best in the business, but you have to be the best known, or the actual product or service. But you being a real estate agent, you're essentially selling the same product as every other agent in the marketplace. So the next is that you need to build a brand quickly. But how do you build a brand quickly? If you look at a lot of the top agents, they've been doing it 20 years, 30 years, and they've just kind of built up their name and reputation over the last 5 or last 10 years. So they spent 20 years down this road to kind of live commission to commission. That's a really, you don't want to do that. You do not want to do that. What you want to do is my blueprint. This is exactly what I did step by step, and this is exactly what helped me really catapult to the next level. The first thing I did was I realized that I had no connections. I didn't have the database. I was a great salesperson, really good negotiator. I had all the hustle in the world. But nobody knew who the hell I was. So at the end, that's kind of like a tree falling in the woods and no one's around. Does it actually make a noise? You know? And so what I did was I went after the top agents in the business. People making $300,000, $400,000 a month. The top agents. And what I would say is, hey, Mike, I would love to do a deal with you. It would be an absolute pleasure. I'm a really hard worker. I'll find you the deal. I'll find you the seller. If I find you that ready, willing, and able seller, would you go on the appointment with me? And so then what happens is Mike is like, okay, you find me the deal. I'll go on the appointment. And I'm like, okay, cool. So then I go over Mike's track record. I find the biggest deal that he's done over the last, say, 3 months. And I start going aggressively after that entire neighborhood. So I'm looking for expired listings. I'm looking for people that live out of state. I'm looking for people that have deferred maintenance, maybe tax liens, maybe someone just died at the property. It's a probate and it's going to ultimately go on the market for sale. Anything I could use, anything I could find that's going to result in me attaining that motivated seller is something that I'm going to do. That's it. Mike's name is going to get me that listing. And at the end of the day, if I was competing just me versus Mike, I would lose because no one knows no one knows who the hell I am. So that's how you have to look at it when you're selling something. Ask yourself, would you buy it if you were on the other end of the table? If you were a home seller and Mike just sold the house down the street from you and you wanted to sell your property, you're going to want to work with Mike. So all you are now doing is scheduling that appointment for Mike. That's what you're doing. You're scheduling the appointment for Mike. And when you schedule that appointment, you call the home seller and you say, hi, Mike just sold a house on Stradella Road, a record-breaking price at $2,000 a square foot. And he asked me to call you to see if you would be interested in possibly selling your property. He works with a lot of buyers in this neighborhood, a lot of sellers as well. And we'd love the opportunity to sit down with you and see how we can help you. Are you interested in selling the property? And if they're like, no, not yet, okay, great. And just start asking questions and getting to that final answer. You want to get to that, you want to dig as much leverage as possible. What I mean by that is you want to ask a lot of questions to find out their position, their honest position in that property, why they want to sell it. And the more motivated they are, the more likely it is you're going to end up securing that listing at a good price. So let's say hypothetically they say, okay, yes, I do want to sell the property. Say, great, Mike's available at 2 o'clock or 5 o'clock on Thursday. Which time is better for you? They'll say 5 o'clock, and you say, okay, great. You call Mike and you say, hey, Mike, we just confirmed this appointment. The appointment's now locked in. I want to come by with a referral agreement. You sign it, And basically what it means is that with Sally, we'll just call her Sally. With Sally, any deal that she does in the next 365 days, I'm a part of it. And he'll say, okay. And so he'll sign that agreement, and then you know that you're going to get half of that commission on the first deal, half of that commission on the second deal, because she's going to end up buying something, more than likely. And then when that happens, now you're in a really, really good spot. And you could probably do this first part in like the first 21 days of securing the listing with that top agent. Now what happens is now your name is associated with that agent, but now the market is curious. Are you an assistant for this agent, or are you an independent agent no one knows about? Now what you do is you try to use that listing as leverage to open up another door with another top agent. You want to open up another door with another top agent, and now say, hey, I just listed a property with Mike on Stradella Road for $3.5 million, or whatever the price is, whatever the specs are of the property. And we're really looking forward to selling this property, and I've really been a fan of your business. You've done so well the last 20 years. It would be a dream to work with you. It would be a dream to work with you. If I found you a ready, willing, and able home seller, would you go on the appointment with me? And what's going to happen is they're going to say yes, because let's face it, it's a $3 million deal. They're part of it. They're probably going to make 35 grand if they get a listing and sell it. And so they're going to make 35 grand by showing up on an appointment. Everyone would say yes to that. But what you're doing now is you're building relationships with these top agents. You're seeing how they run their business, how they list properties, how they handle rebuttals with home sellers, how they get extensions on listings, how they get price reductions with listings that are overpriced. You're learning from all of these agents. So now you got these 2 agents, right? You want to double down and do that with 4 agents. And you want to make sure you have referral agreements locked down and signed with all of those agents with those clients. Because what's going to happen, and I promise you, because this has happened to me, is, and not once, probably a dozen times it felt like, they're going to try to take that client from you. They want to cut you out of the deal because ultimately they don't want you to succeed. That agent doesn't want you to succeed. They'll pretend like they do, but they don't, because if you become wildly successful and you're young and you're a real hustler and now you have a track record, now you're a threat to them. Because if they're 60 years old, 65 years old, they're not as hungry as they were when they were 20 or 25. So, and they don't want to build up a competitor that's going to take away from their retirement plan. Let's just face it, they're not going to want to do that. So realize they're probably going to cut you out of the deal whenever they possibly can, depending on that referral agreement that you signed. Sign one for at least a year. That's my recommendation, at least a year. But what you then want to do is when you're advertising that you listed this property, and on like your social media, on wherever you're advertising it, just put your name, because you want to build up your name. You want to build up your name. On the MLS, it's going to be the agent and you. But on your social media and your own stuff, just put just your name out there, just so people are seeing that you're doing these big deals. You're setting yourself up to have this book up business. And now what you want to do is, now you have these four good listings with these agents. Now you're probably around 2 months into the business. And I'm basing this on you working like 60, 70 hours a week, cold calling, going after deals aggressively, door knocking, working smart, not hard. Working smart, not hard. Like the movie Wall Street, the original one. He's like, the difference between me and everyone else is that I go after the sure thing. And that's what you need to do. You need to go after the sure thing. And that's working with these top agents that everyone knows and going after motivated sellers. So you have these 4 listings with these 4 top agents. Now what you want to do is use those listings as leverage to get your own listings, your own deals. And now when you have your own deals, now you can slowly start segueing away from those agents, because you don't want to be in a position to where you're vulnerable working with one agent, and if they want to cut you out, you've essentially just built up a great client list for them, and they're going to just leave you where they found you. So don't do that. In addition, you want to go after high-end leases as well, really high-end deals, properties that are worth in the millions, because what's going to happen is you're going to end up building out these relationships with these homeowners, and these people are most likely going to sell down the road, or they're going to lease the property from you and maybe refer you to a friend of theirs or something like that. But you want to set yourself up as a position of authority. But never, ever, ever forget this, that most real estate agents, they end up they're all flash and no cash. They end up spending a lot of their money. They want to get the nice car. They want to look really wealthy and successful to portray an image. What ends up happening is that come tax time, come April, they come to write that check, that tax check, and they barely have the money. I mean, I see this even in like Beverly Hills, people making a couple $1,000,000 a year. At the end of the year, they have nothing to show for it because, you know, they're flying first class and they're doing everything that they're doing. Don't do that. Just don't do that. Save your money. Save your money, invest your money well. Because what you don't want to do is you don't want to be that 50-year-old, 60-year-old, 70-year-old agent doing open houses on a Sunday, pulling out on a busy street in the rain, dropping off open house signs, you know, hoping you don't lose that listing. Because that's what happens with most agents. Let's just be honest. That's what happens with most agents. They don't plan for their retirement. They live in the moment. You need to look at being a real estate agent as a short-term window for you to make a lot of money to invest in property so you're not dependent on commissions. And that's my recommendation. You need to look at this, you know, 1 year, 2 years in, you need to say, like, how can I save up 200 grand? How can I save up 150 grand? Whatever it is. And you need to factor in. You say, okay, well, in order for me to do that, $40 million in overall sales, if I'm splitting it, it'll be $20 million, which would be $500,000 in commission. And say I spend $70 a year, minus taxes, I would make it. More than I'd make it, you know, and you could reverse engineer whatever the goal is that you need to target. Figure out how many deals you need to get and see how long it would take you to actually do it. And break it down by year, break it down by month, and you'll be successful. But also be wary too of the other traps, which is going to be postcards and everything else they're going to try to tell you to spend your money on. It's a waste of money. I've probably spent 50 grand on postcards and it's probably been a break even. So, and that was 5 years ago. So now the money is, if you're going to advertise, I'd advertise on social media, but I wouldn't start advertising until you're wildly successful. And I would advertise intelligently on social media. So, yeah, I mean, that's just how social media works. They have all the information, all the data. I was talking to my wife the other day about, like, maybe a year or 2 years ago, we were looking at a Range Rover. And looking at a Range Rover, I go on Facebook and I scroll on Facebook, and the first thing I see is a Range Rover on my ads. And talking to my wife about it because we're at a friend's the other night and they have the Alexa system. And he's like, yeah, it's interesting because on Alexa we'll say something and the next day we start seeing ads for it. So if you're going to advertise, that's the point. Advertise online and figure out a really smart strategy to do it. One where it's going to enable you to scale and grow your business at a cost, you know, practical cost. So with all that said, be smart in your strategy and you will become really successful. All right, guys, thanks so much. And please consider subscribing.